Welcome to another episode of Luxury Specialist. I'm your host, Michael LaFido. You're in the right place if you're a team leader, you're an individual agent, you're a broker owner, and you're looking to work smarter, not harder, perhaps increase your average sale price and break into luxury. I have a special guest I'm going to be bringing on here in a minute, but before I do, just a couple housekeeping items. Again, if you're listening to this live or you're listening to a replay, you can always ask me questions after the fact. Shoot me an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. And if you are watching this live, you can always type in questions, whatever device you're watching on, whether you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Twitter, Facebook, you can type in questions for our guest or for myself, or if you're watching a replay of this, shoot me an email and we'll make sure we get those over to you. A couple other things. We are our next live in-person designation training. We just were in Cabo. We sold out. We were 33% over capacity there. It was excellent. Great feedback from that training. Our next in-person designation training, the Houston Association of Realtors is having us back. Second time in 6 months. We already got 28 sold, which is great. And we're going to have 50 to 60 agents at that event. We're really excited. And then we're going to Dallas the following day. And we might be going to Austin. I call it my Texas Rodeo show. We did the Texas Rodeo show pre-COVID where I did Houston, Dallas, and Austin all within 3 days. And we're going to do the same, hopefully, in May. Again, any questions on our designation, you can go to luxurylistingspecialist.com, Luxury Listing Specialist. Or if you want to come down to Houston, check it out. Go to luxurydesignation.com/HAR. I'm going to be bringing on my special guest here in a moment, but we're also going to go live on Instagram. Okay, Instagram. You find us on Instagram under Luxury Listing Specialist on Instagram, and our TikTok is Luxury Specialist, and of course our YouTube. If you're watching on another device, our YouTube channel, you can go to youtube.com/@Luxury Specialist. You know, today's guest I'm really excited to have. He's a best-selling author, but you know, when we're talking about breaking into luxury or selling high-end homes consistently, whether you represent the buyer or the seller, you know, lead gen and prospecting isn't perhaps as effective in those upper price points than maybe entry level or average price points. And so breaking in and attracting luxury buyer and luxury seller referrals is going to be key if you're going to have consistency in your business, especially during turbulent times when people are skeptical, the market shift, and you have to bring more to the table. Referrals, or like Robert De Niro and Meet the Parents, that circle of trust is very difficult to penetrate. And so today's guest is just that. He is a specialist when it comes to referrals. He's written books, has his own podcast on referrals. And I've seen him present. Him and I presented, I believe, at a Haas Pratt event years ago. And then most recently, I was in Cabo. He was in Cabo. He attended my training, and we really hit it off again. And so we're like, hey, let's get you on my show. And we just were on his podcast as well. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest today. Again, Michael LaFido. You're watching and listening to another episode of Luxury Specialist. So with that being said, here's my special guest. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, referralspodcast.com, and author of the book, 7 Levels of Communication. Michael, welcome.
Wow, what an honor and a privilege. And I am a man. I'm not sure about the myth and legend part. So I'm honored to be here, and great that we reconnected, and loved having you on Referrals Podcast last week. It's already over 12,000 downloads, and
Wow.
People have already posted it in Gen group and have already commented on it and talked about it. And just really appreciated the value that you brought to the generosity generation and our tribe of trust.
Well, I appreciate it. Again, it was a pleasure, and I love raising the bar for the industry, bringing value, helping agents feel more empowered. Giving them clarity on what what they can do, right, versus what they can't do. We have so many limiting beliefs up here. So tell everybody a little bit about you. Of course, you've written the book Seven Levels of Communication, which is a bestseller. You have your own podcast called Referral Podcast. How many episodes of that has been released out of curiosity?
I think you were episode 288, 289, something like that. So we're nearing the 300 number, coming up on 3
Wow.
years, I believe.
Wow.
No, that actually has to be more than that. Yeah, probably 3 years of having the podcast. I came kicking and screaming to the podcast game. I didn't want another thing to do. I remember being at Dave Ramsey's house and having a great conversation, and he literally had to stop the conversation because he had to go do his show. And I was like, man, I never want to be I never want to be tied to something like that, to where, I got to end a conversation or I got to end something with somebody to do it. And, what I've discovered about podcasting is you can record them whenever you want. So we block out time every Friday to record the podcast, and we stay ahead of the game. So I've loved the podcast and I've loved what it's done. The best thing is it allows us to shine a spotlight on the people who are literally implementing and getting referrals versus, I don't interview Neil Armstrong. I don't interview Oprah. I don't interview, Ed Milet, even though we could have them on. And why? Because these are real people, real referrals, real stories. Everything's real about it. And that's what I love, is keep it real and make it fun.
Referralspodcast.com. I put it on the screen for those of you that are watching. Again, I was just a guest on it, so thank you for having me on there. So you're episode 242. So this is episode 242 of Luxury Specialist Podcast. And so we're not quite at 288 or 289, but we've been doing this for some time as well. And again, if you're tuning in for the first time, you're in the right place if you're looking to bring more value to your buyer database, your seller database. If you're looking to increase your average sale price, I mean, we work big or small, we represent them all, and that's who our audience is well. But if you do want to add more high-end and luxury buyers and sellers to your portfolio, well, you're listening to the right podcast. So referrals. So tell everybody a little bit about, referrals are, of course, the best type of, whether you're out to dinner, whether you're getting a recommendation. I just saw John Mellencamp last night, and I'm getting some referrals as to who to buy the ticket off of. Referrals are really key to any business, especially when you're dealing with large assets, vehicles, boats, planes, houses. Financials, financial advisors. You mentioned Dave Ramsey and his endorsed program, right? Financial advisors, lenders, and realtors. So tell everybody a little bit about, without going too deep, and your story with referrals, and you were a top producing agent, and we look forward to hearing about how agents can attract more luxury real estate referrals.
Well, I think number one, we've already kind of hit on one of the traits of the super successful and the successful, and that's being consistent. You're on episode 240 plus. We're on episode 280 plus. And you know what? You know how many podcasts have done 2 or 3 episodes and they just gave up? That's number one. Don't ever give up. Keep going. Don't quit. Do it now, and keep running with it. And I think it kind of goes back to, the referral mastery system as a whole that I teach and preach every day and love on. And we have 3 pillars within that referral mastery system. We've got self-mastery, which is the 1 to none pillar. And 1 to none is working on ourselves. We have an acronym that is first love yourself, fly. If you truly want to fly, you've got to first love yourself. And I think we're all in development with first loving ourselves, taking care of ourselves, and so on and so forth. And then the second pillar is relationship mastery, which is our 1-to-1 pillar, which is how do you do in conversation? How do you do on phone calls? Can you make every conversation a referral conversation? When you have mastered it, the answer is you're able to do that and make it a referral conversation. The other thing is, how is your consultation? How is your listing presentation? How is your one-to-one conversation with a networking partner, somebody that might sponsor your events or might be a referral source for you, and honing all of those. And then the third pillar is event mastery. It's the one to many pillar. And the thing on that is, are you doing multiple events a year for your everyone you know? And are you doing multiple events a year for the top people you know, which definitely goes towards the luxury model. The top people we know typically are looking more into the exclusivity, into the type of events that aren't sprayed all over Facebook and social media. Privacy, exclusivity, intimacy. We have the two 52-week plans. One is the all YAP, which is the yearly appreciation plan, which is what YAP is the acronym for everyone we know. And it is all over social media. It's all over everywhere. We're going to invite everybody we know, including internet leads, right? We're going to invite everyone. Then we have
So
the
so
top.
let me
Yeah.
just pause right there. So
Yeah.
for you've given some really good nuggets, and so I just sometimes people are driving, they're listening. So you gave out three amazing nuggets. Number one, you talked about self mastery. Work on yourself. My father used to say, if you can't love yourself, who can you love? Right. So
Right.
work on yourself. Number two, you talked about relationship mastery. And number three, event mastery, right? So the key, one of our designation, our Lux designation is 16 modules, Michael, and one of our modules is event-based marketing, because you know people will forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel, right? And so, by showing appreciation, by having something fun, memorable, we've rented out movie theaters, we've had pictures with Santa Claus, event-based marketing. And that brings to the last one, which you're talking about, yearly appreciation event, doing something for not just clients, but you're talking about prospects, maybe people in your database, your sphere, maybe people on your kids' ball games, parents, because I believe NAR has a statistic where the average person knows 3.2 people in their database that would be buying and selling in the next year. And so, again, even if somebody's never referred you, they might know somebody, and it's top of mind awareness, right? And that's really, I think, key is be memorable, so that when someone knows someone that's thinking about buying or selling, you're on the radar. But keep going. I just want to recap some of those because that was huge.
Yeah, and on I would have only a one letter edit to your yearly appreciation event tag that's on the bottom, and the tweak would be events with an S.
Plural.
It's events, right?
Yeah.
Is I would add an S to events, because how many people have one event every year and they're so happy with it, but they're exhausted after it and they never got any referrals from it, and that happens all the time. The secret to success with events is in the series of events. Don't have one event. Don't even have two. You need to have three events for all of your database. And by the way, you don't need to do it monthly. You don't even need to do it quarterly. This is all research based, by the way. I mean, here we are. I'm disclosing literally, what if there was a magic number of events that would maximize your referrals in a year? And for your all YAP, and the YAP, once again, is yearly appreciation plan. For your all YAP, it's three events, and you want to do them spaced out about every 4 months. And that gives you time to invite, confirm, have the event, and then follow up. And that's what's different with my system than others. First of all, most others don't even have the event element to it.
Singular.
But yeah. And the second part of it is that what happens is we have a follow-up part, and you're going to follow up from our events, if you do them right, for up to 4 weeks. Imagine having a great excuse or a great reason to call everyone you know or email everyone you know because you just had an event, right? You even want to talk to the people who couldn't attend or didn't even RSVP, to let them know what a great event, and let them know that you missed them. When it comes to people.
FOMO, a fear of missing out too. And maybe the next event they'll show up because they saw pictures, they heard feedback, and they're like, you know what, that sounds like a great opportunity I missed. So I'll put it on my calendar the next one, right? So,
That's right.
there's publications here in Chicago as well as throughout the country called Real Producers, right? So
Okay.
this image behind me, I was on the cover of the yearly Real Producers, but they had an event recently and I missed out, right? And it's like, oh man, I had that FOMO going, and I made sure I circled the next event. So those of you that are just tuning in, I have uh, the author of Referrals, the host of referralpodcast.com. We're talking about referrals. We're talking about attracting luxury referrals, buyers, sellers, maybe referring sources, right? That's another way to get referrals is indirectly, right? If you get in with business owners, people that are friends with these people, many times that is the key. Again, we're talking luxury on this podcast, but we love on everybody. You just don't
Okay.
know where your next buyer is going to come from, where your next seller is going to come from. I have a $17,000 land vacant lot listing in Chicago right now. So big or small, we'll sell them all. And so love on everybody, treat everybody with respect, never say no to a client, unless they're just, they just don't have the personality type, they're not realistic or whatever, but love on people. So again, if you have a question, you can type it in the comment section for our guest, Michael. And if you are watching a replay of this, I'll make sure Michael will leave his information where you can reach out to him. You got to stick around to the end for that. So keep going.
Yeah. So I think now let's make this super relevant to the luxury crowd, right? So we've got the YAPS, which is the yearly appreciation plan for everyone we know. Now we have to understand that we have VIPs that we know in our database and in our community. We have very important people who bring the energy. They're more influential, they're more connected, they're more wealthy, they're more affluent, they're more fun, maybe. And guess what? We need to make a list of the more fun, more energy based type of people in our database, and they can be luxury past clients, or they can just be somebody that person invited to your event. So now we've taken care of everyone. We don't have to worry about everyone. Isn't that a great feeling? Is when you don't have to worry about everyone in your database because you've got these 3 events that
Right.
you're going to be talking about all year. Now we've got to have a VIP program, and that is the top YAP system. And the top YAP is yearly ambassador program. What we have to do with the top YAP is keep our ambassadors ambassadoring. They need to keep speaking highly of us and referring us willingly. So we need to do 4 YAPs that are top YAP only, small, intimate. Let's say we have 100 people in our database that are energetic, affluent, influential, connected, fun. Then we're going to invite only 25 of them to the first event. Only 15 to 20 will most likely attend. That's fine, but you got to realize these are the ones that are already referring you. They're most likely to refer you the more affluent crowd. And so we're going to have 4 of those events. And the cool thing is and I kind of like cracked the code on this in business, is mine was a board of ambassadors event, like a board of advisors, but the board of ambassadors was simply a dinner with wine and steak or wine and seafood or whatever. It was a dinner, and I would have a survey or a questionnaire for them to fill out when they came in. And it was about business stuff. It was about networking. It was about connecting. It was about customer service. It was about whatever I wanted to learn more about. And so they answered the questions on their own, and then we would open it up to discussion. And on that sheet, I always had at the bottom of it, I always had questions about people that they knew that I needed to know, or people that they wanted to refer for buying or selling or investing. And people would fill that out all the time. And I had referrals from this event. And but one of the best things about the event was that you got to realize your top people don't know each other. In the old days, in what I call the ego era was all the way up to about 2006. Everything was all about me.com. It was, branding yourself, branding ego. And like that was a big deal back then. And the ABC was A, always, B, C, closing. And you know what? That worked back then. But then the consumer changed. We don't want to be closed anymore. Back then it was find me, sell me, hunt me down, and then overcome all my objections, dominate me, intimidate me to the point where I buy your product. Well, that doesn't work anymore because everybody has a voice. The new consumer is the generosity generation. And the new consumer is hear me, help me, like truly listen to me, and then help me, point me in the direction of the person I need to know if it's not you to help me. And the new ABC is not always be closing. It's always be connecting. Connect with yourself, connect one to one with others, and maybe most importantly, connect those in your database that don't know each other. And the best place to do that is an event. And we have this feature about events that we don't get any other way. And that feature is like plus like equals two loves. A person who likes you meets another person who likes you. They talk about their only point of reference, which is you. And guess what? Now they both love you because social proof is kicked in. And when they part ways, they are emboldened and they are more likely to speak highly of it and refer you because they know there are other people like them who love you. And that's the power of the events is the ABC is always be connected. You get an opportunity to connect these people. And listen, at our events, we've had people get married. We've had people who have made business partnerships that have been worth millions. I haven't had any stories yet of any of it becoming billions, but it wouldn't surprise me if our board of ambassadors and the events we have don't make connections that have made people millions upon millions of dollars. And maybe there's $1 billion story I just haven't heard yet.
Wow.
So that is the top YAP events. And it's like, your top YAP is 4 small events. And we truly believe small events, big results. And then you've got your YAPs, which are your invite every, your all YAP, which is invite everyone you know. Hopefully the YAP isn't confusing. One is yearly ambassador program, and that is to keep our top people, because if you don't communicate with them.
Again, an ambassador is somebody that had a great experience with you, or maybe you didn't even help, but they are a referring source. They're engaged. They've sent you business. Like I like segmenting databases to keep it simple as A, B, C. That's your A list. These are people that have referred you more likely. You want to touch them, communicate with them more frequently, invest more time, energy, and money and experience or experiences with them. This is what you're talking about with what's on the screen, the yearly ambassador events, correct?
That's correct.
So
100%.
So smaller, more intimate, higher cost per head, but the referrals are a higher referral rate per person. Are those people invited to the YAP events as well?
Yes. And also some of the questions on my questionnaire at the, let's call it the top event, some of the questions on that questionnaire are actually about the previous event and the next event. So I actually make that board of ambassadors a de facto event committee, right? They are my event committee, and we report about the last event, and then we talk about the next event coming. Well, we don't even really say anything about invitation. They just assume that they're going to go. And I will tell you, you want somebody to go to your event, ask for their advice about the event. Because once they've given you advice for the event, they're going to go just to see if you took their advice. And number 2, when they give advice, they're actually feeling ownership in the event. So they are going to show up because they feel that sense of ownership. And the third thing is when you ask for people's advice, it's a huge compliment. You are actually saying that they're an intelligent human being that you're wanting and willing to listen to. And it's a really, really powerful thing to do. Too often we think we have to be the expert. We have to be the one that talks smart and, shares things that we, and
well, you bring up a good point. I'm always amazed with some of these high net worth individuals I meet. I love asking questions about what they do, how they started. Hearing the James Malinchak, my speaker coach from 10 plus years ago, used to say from mess to success, right? And so, hearing their story. By the way, a picture's jumping up on the screen right now. That's Michael and I in Cabo right there. And again, it was a pleasure to have you stop by our designation training.
And what I said at that, I meant, right? I think that's the other thing is I was asked to go to two other masterminds when I was in Cabo, and I politely refused, right? I just said I couldn't make it. And could I have made it? Maybe, right? Based on things I was doing. But with your event, I believe in what you do, right? I believe in you. And here's the thing, everything you showed on the screen wasn't something you heard from another agent or something another agent is doing. It's straight from your website. It's straight from what you're doing. So, there's just so much more credibility and validity to your teaching because you're teaching what you're most passionate about and you're implementing it on a daily basis. So I think that's one of the most powerful things. When I said that, hey, listen, I was asked to go to several and I only went to two, and yours was one of them. And I believe in what you do, and I can vouch for you. And I don't give my endorsement out. And that's the thing you learn in referrals is you don't necessarily give your endorsement out to anybody and everybody. You guard it because people are going to hear it and they're going to want to trust your advice. They're going to want to trust your word. And, I know that when I send people to you, and I had a whole team there. I don't know if you know it. I coached an entire team that was at that event,
Yeah,
So,
no, that was very nice of you to attend, and you didn't just pop in. I mean, you didn't pop in so I can give love and give away one of your books. I mean, you were there, you contributed, you listened.
took notes. I had 2 pages of notes, Lux man. I'm telling you, it was awesome. It was very good stuff.
Well, thank you, thank you. Well, you're doing some great things as well, and we got uh, we got some greetings from. Oh, look at that! We got greetings. That was our gal
Yep.
from Mexico. She was in our
Yep.
training last week, and she came down from. I'm trying to think what part of Mexico, but it will come to me here. It will come to me. But she jumped on a plane 2 hours and came down. So I remember. Thank you so much for doing that. Uh, all right, so we're talking referrals. You're talking about event-based marketing, loving on your database. What advice would you have for those listening that say, "Well, that's great, but I'm a newer agent. I don't
Mhm.
have a an ambassador program yet. I'm
Yep.
trying,
Mhm.
I'm trying to build my business up."
Yep.
So what you talked about is for maybe people producing, they have a database, they have past clients.
Yep.
What advice would you have? Not even necessarily luxury, but maybe it is luxury. But what advice would you have from referrals? You know, what are some just simple nuggets? Best way to get referrals?
Yep.
How to set the stage so that a client knows you will be asking for a referral. Maybe not a referral. Maybe it's a review, right? I mean, you cannot. Each of us could have more referrals, more 5-star, all of that. So, what recommendations do
Mhm.
you have for our audience that might be newer, might be a seasoned veteran to set the stage for referrals?
Well, number one is be referable, right? I mean that's the first thing is be referable. Have high character. Be honest and full of integrity, no matter what. Don't let money make your decision, right? Make your decision based on what's right and good for everybody involved. And then competency. Be really good at what you do. Know the contract really well. Know the paperwork really well. Know negotiation very well. And then the third C of referability, right? Character, competence. The third one is communication. Be a great communicator. Be a great communicator. And I didn't start out a great communicator. I was very disorganized, and I came from a very, very poor upbringing. My dad made $2,500 a year teaching. My mom stayed home and raised 5 of us kids, and we made 2,500 a year. And guess what? Food stamps were money, and I got one pair of shoes from Kmart every year. Um, and I remember getting underwear and socks for Christmas and thinking it was the best thing ever. And basically, they were just buying the things we needed and giving them to us for Christmas. So I came from that kind of upbringing, and I did have some limitations in beliefs when it came to luxury market. But I'm telling you right now, is that you've got to set your standards as if you're the luxury king or queen. And what I mean by that is I got my first luxury listing when I put together an experience that was worthy of the luxury market. So here's the thing, don't reinvent the wheel, right? You've got Michael LaFido to learn from. You've got people to learn from here. So what did I learn? I learned, first of all, the importance of the digital real estate space as well as the real estate space on earth. So I immediately started getting domains for my listings. Like if the home was on Sunset Drive, the domain was takeasunsetdrive.com. And that would be, and here's the thing, that's instantly referable. It's easy to remember. It's easy to forward. And guess what? People forwarded it. Take a Sunset Drive. Look at this house on Sunset Drive. And I would make up something. I remember where Ed the horse lives.com, right? And my lead ad was not this big giant picture of the horse ranch. It was actually a horse. So imagine in everywhere you see all these pictures of houses, and then there's a picture of this beautiful horse head. And then I wrote the ad from the aspect of what Ed would say about the horse and how awesome that this house and farm and ranch were for horses. And guess what? It was a horse ranch neighborhood. We sold it very, very quickly when everything else was over 300 days on market. We sold it in 65 days on market. So I think the first thing is the digital. And then here's the other
By the
thing.
way, I love the story of the horse. I got to show this screenshot. I did the same thing. I think I shared this with you when I was working to cancel and expired mailers. I had a letter from my dog Hannah. That's actually Hannah. She's no
Beautiful
longer
dog.
with us, but it was a letter from Hannah talking. It says, if you haven't contacted Michael LaFido to list your home, you got to be a squirrel looking for some nuts. And it was in Hannah's, and it was signed Hannah. It was different. It was outside the box. And when a canceled or expired was getting 50 phone calls and maybe 6 mailers, this one definitely stood out. So, thank you, Alan, for the nice notes. We got Alan from Nashville. And great nuggets. I'm in Nashville selling luxury new construction. I'd love to grow a database of referral partners in other states that have luxury buyers. What's the best strategy to do this?
Yep.
So I'll start, and then Michael, you finish. So Alan, Tennessee, you do have a lot of, feeder markets. We call those, where are people coming from to Nashville, right? So a lot of Chicagoans going there. So figure out, talk to your title companies. They can tell you, hey, where buyers are coming from primarily. And you can have referral partners in all 50 states, but figure out who the top ones are, build relationships with them. Maybe let them know, of course, you'll be taking care of their clients, right? We call that silver platter service. I'm looking for my silver platter. You got to offer silver platter service. That's key. You got to do what you say you're going to do. So that'd be one thing that I would talk to you about, is building that database, building a relationship. Not sure if a big brand, Alan, if you're with the Remax, a Keller Williams, a EXP, XYZ, but if so, go to those conferences, build relationships, and you'll be top of mind awareness. That would be my advice to you, Michael.
So my first one is the last one you said there, is go to the conferences. Don't just go to the KW conference or the EXP conference or Remax or whatever. I would go to any conference that you can, and especially any class that Michael's teach. If you're in Chicago, go to Dallas when he teaches in Dallas, right?
By the way, those of you that are watching on Instagram, go to our YouTube channel. You can ask our guest, Michael. Every week we do these live streams. The best way is go to youtube.com/@luxury specialist. Hit that subscribe button. So those of you that are watching live on Instagram, we can interact more with you. Keep going, Michael.
Yeah. So have a conference and then do a deep dive Zoom afterwards, right? So that's the whole strategy in a nutshell, right? You're going to go to, let's say you go to EXP shareholders in Orlando next month, and you get a chance to see me and Michael, right? You meet people at that event, you go, you chat with them. And then what you do is you're gathering information, you're gathering cards, and you're letting the people know, hey, listen, I'm going to do a deep dive mastermind where we share notes about what we learned at this, and let's hold each other gently accountable about what we're going to do. And then have that Zoom and be the one that hosts the Zoom. How hard is it to host a Zoom? It's very, very easy. But you instantly take the position of an influencer and a leader just simply because you're actually creating the event. And trust me, a Zoom is an event. It is an event. It counts as a digital or virtual event. And you do a mastermind and you get to know people. And then everybody sees your face and they get a chance to get with you. And then from there on out, it's about, giving value and doing things. I think the finest value you can ever do is implement, so what did I do? I went to Star Power and I learned from the best of the best in the luxury world. And then what did I do? I went and created my standards as if we're going to list the most expensive house in Kansas City. If I were going to list the most expensive house in Kansas City, what would I do? So the first thing is I wanted to build a pre-listing packet, right? So smoothselling.com, you don't see a lot of sailboats in Kansas City. My images were lighthouses and sailboats. You don't see a lot in Kansas City. And if anybody's trying to sell you oceanfront property in Kansas City, you should probably turn them down. But yeah, so this is the Compass kit. This was my pre-listing kit. This was delivered to their door 3 to 5 days before our appointment. They would open it up and it was marketed beautifully, right? It had homeowner homework. It had everything in there. It had, where I was on the cover of different magazines, and we talked about, and then there was the pre-listing book, right? So this pre-listing book looks like $1 million, and in there we talk about everything we do. Well, we designed this for the most expensive house in the entire city, but you know who we delivered this to? We delivered it to everyone. So when I had a $120,000 listing, this was my pre-listing packet, and we talked about the smooth selling system, selling being SELLING, and smoothselling.com was the website that we used entirely to talk about how awesome the system was. And we had homeowner homework in there, and part of it was to go to Walmart and make 2 keys. I will tell you, if the seller's disclosure was on the table and there were 2 keys on top of it, I had the listing. I knew I had the listing because they had already taken the first steps to working with us. Here's the other thing is think in terms of somebody who is a brand expert, or invest in a brand expert. One of the things that is very big right now is branding with the senses. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago when you went to one of my listings, every single one was staged to the nines. I don't care if it was a $120,000 house, $1.2 million house, or $2.5 million house. It staged and looked like $1 million with minimalism and just honestly decluttering and clean. Yeah.
Fresh.
And we wouldn't list it until it was perfect.
First
what happened? Yeah. What
First
happened?
Impressions.
Yeah, exactly. The first buyers to see it are going to be the most likely the ones to buy it.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? We were selling at full price, over full price. And we're talking in 2008, 2009, 2010, where everybody else was selling for $60,000 discounts because we were different. And every one of our homes was warranted. We had a certified WISE home system. And the certified WISE home, WISE was an acronym. It was warranted, it was inspected, it was staged, and it was evaluated by 3 different people. It was evaluated by the seller, it was evaluated by an independent appraiser, and it was evaluated by the Maher team. And we had those 3 evaluations, including the appraisal, in the pamphlet for the buyers to see when they walk through. When you walk into the home, you open the door, you instantly smell and hear something that you don't at every other listing. We used ocean breeze diffusers in the house, and every room you basically put it on every level of the house. It would smell like this ocean breeze kind of smell, which of course went with smooth selling, but it's also a pleasant smell. And then we also discovered through research that they did this research in new home communities that if smooth jazz music was playing, just like when you go to a department store, why is there music playing over the loudspeaker, right? It's there to make you feel more comfortable. You will stay longer. You will buy more. Well, it's the same thing. We had smooth jazz playing on all 3 levels or all 2 levels, everywhere you could hear in the house, gently, not loudly, but just gently. We had smooth jazz, so it always sounded the same. We had the ocean breeze smell, so it always smelled the same. You instantly knew our listing when you walked in, and it didn't matter if it was 120,000 or 1.2 million or even greater than that. Is we had a certain standard that we set. Well, how do we set it? We set it like we're going to take like LaFido's getting Jordan's listing sooner than later. He's going to get it, right? So it's like, if he got Jordan's listing, what would he do? And he just takes it backwards from there. And it's like, all right, we're going to do this for everybody.
Yeah.
And then what happens is when you have a smooth selling system, you drop off a Compass kit pre-listing packet that looks better than anything. And by the way, some don't even drop a pre-listing packet at all. And
Most, by the way,
our goal with the pre-listing packet was we're going to get the listing before we show up. That was
pre-sell. I mean, we have a module 6 in our designation is all about that. How do you pre-sell before you even show up on Saturday or Sunday or whatever day you're dropping? Hey, Jermon, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the positive feedback. Again, those of you that are tuning in, you're watching and listening to Luxury Specials podcast. I got Michael Maher, author of 7 Levels of Communication, just dishing out nuggets left and right here. NBA playoffs is starting. You're like a point guard right now. Appreciate all the value. Again, if you guys are getting value on this episode or previous, leave us a 5-star review if we've earned it. And I want to share with you our next podcast. We're really excited as well. Again, we're not at 12,000 downloads like Referral Podcast is, but we have the former CEO and co-founder of Zillow and founder of Picasso. We're going to be talking about fractional ownership in luxury real estate. Spencer's going to be joining us next Friday at 2 p.m. Central. 2 p.m. Central. Again, you don't want to miss that live. You can ask the former CEO of Zillow and CEO and founder of Picasso questions. Again, all you got to do, and you can ask Michael, our guest today, questions. All you got to do is type your questions in on whatever platform you're watching and in the comments section. We see them come across in real time. So again, thank you for those of you that are leaving some positive reviews. And if you haven't yet, again, Michael's not getting paid. He's volunteering his time, hopefully to raise the bar in the industry, and appreciate anybody that's leaving us reviews. And like always, if we're not getting a 5-star, tell us what we could do to make better. And if you have a guest that you think would be a great guest on this episode or a future episode, I should say, let us know. We'd be happy to have them on. And then a couple of things coming up. I just want to, then we'll continue with Michael, is I am going to be down Naples Association of Realtors on May 3rd. We're really excited. I'll be speaking at the Naples Association, where I'm going to talk about increasing your average sale price in 2023 and beyond. We're excited about that. Have yet to be to Naples, and Naples is obviously a luxury market. And then last but not least, we are about to release we already have people that have contacted us, but we are about to launch our next book. It's going to be an anthology book. We're excited about it. The title, you'll see it come across the screen, but the title is Secrets of Top Luxury Agents. Secrets of Top Luxury Agents. So if you're interested in finding out more information, let me know. But secretsoftoplluxuryagents.com. If you want to apply now, go ahead and do that. You're not going to want to miss that. We're excited about our next book and our next cause. All right, so let's get back to our guest, Michael Maher, dishing out nuggets left and right. We got Referrals Podcast. This is his podcast. I want to make sure I get that on the screen as well. Referrals Podcast. Last but not least, we've talked a little bit about event-based marketing. Mm-hmm. Bringing value to your database as well as your ambassadors. You refer to ambassadors as your A-list clients, your top, referring sources. They're well connected. What am I missing here?
Well, I don't think anything. In fact, I've taken like a page of notes on how to run a dang stream. This was so beautiful, dude. Great job. And
thank you.
I've enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm doing behind the scenes here. I don't have anybody doing this. Is me. I'm the producer. You want a little banner that's going across here. You want the YouTube on here. This is all me. I got my Luxury Fridays. Will begin.
Look at that. Oh my God, we got
it all here. So this is
a
great platform. My guests can stream to 2 platforms at any given time. I've been really happy with this. I feel like it's much more user-friendly, visual-friendly than Zoom and some others out there. So I appreciate it. Tanya, who's on Instagram, asked again, what does the W in WISE stand for?
W is for warranty. So warranty. they're all pre-warranty.
The W is warranty. The I is inspection. The S is
staged.
Professionally staged. Evaluation, getting 3 evaluations.
3 level evaluation.
The listing agent, potential, and the appraiser.
Homeowner, right? Homeowner, appraiser, myself.
Yeah. Who pays for that appraisal?
So they do, right? So they actually pay a upfront fee that goes towards all of those. So the warranties up it, and we did 1,000, 1,500 bucks. You got to realize they write you a check for $1,000. They get it back at closing, right?
Right.
But it's one of those. I mean, they're working with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the stager did it at a great price because, she would do an hour, but she'd end up doing 3 hours. Well, the homeowner would pay for the extra 2 hours. So it was a business decision for the stager. The appraiser did it for less because they didn't have the pressure of doing it post contract, right? So, and the other thing too with that was, we did a lot of listings. So the appraiser knew that they were going to be steady, and we worked with the top appraiser in Kansas City. I was that was a match made in heaven. That was such a good pairing for us. They did a great job, and there were times when we came out under appraisal, and we would end up over appraisal when it came to multiple offers. So it was an inspection. Pre-inspection's also cheaper than a regular inspection, right? Because they don't have the pressure, they don't have the buyer hovering over them, and we're going to do bulk, right? So and by the way, seller coverage on most warranties at that time were $50 to $75. So
Okay.
it was very cheap to put the warranty on early. And by the way, that's trademarked. If somebody wants to talk about using that, just have them email me. It's the Certified Wise Home Program. We have the entire system for what we did there, and it was absolutely magical in the toughest markets. We didn't need it, 2 years ago and 3 years ago. 2021, we didn't do a certified wise on every listing. We still had the smells, we still had it staged, we still had that kind of thing done. But our big thing was get it on the market as fast as possible,
Yeah.
basically.
Get on as fast as possible in the best light possible. We recommend the same thing. I'm going to type in the comment section, but this is kind of the book that you're most known for, 7 Levels of Communication. I typed it in to the link there, but you go to Amazon, you guys can find it in a lot of different places.
Yep.
But here's your book on here.
The
Uh,
easiest URL, by the way, is thebookonreferrals.com.
the
So
book on referrals.com. I
yep,
love it.
thebookonreferrals.com, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sounds
plural,
so
by the way. We don't like one referral. We like plenty of
we
referrals.
don't have anything that has one referral in it, right? So everything's about multiple referrals.
Yeah,
Referralspodcast.com, everything.
good. Well, we got that on the screen right now. I appreciate that.
Yep.
So, what's the best way for somebody? We're going to wrap up here. What's the best way for somebody to be in touch with you? They want more
Yep.
information on you. I know you guys have a coaching program. You got a Facebook group. What's the best way for them to find out more information?
Well, if they're listening to you, we'd love to have them be a part of the generosity generation. That is our tribe of trust. And we do have a private group on Facebook. You go to joingengen.com. Just go to join, Join, Gengen, GENGEN.com, joingengen.com, and just answer the 2 or 3 questions. They're not sales questions. They're just get to know you better questions. And then we'll let you in the group. It is a private group. And I will tell you that what is the main function of the group is really for referrals. And there are referrals exchanged every day. I know of 2 that have already been exchanged today in that Gen group. So it's one of those where that is an opportunity. And if you're in Mexico, I think we may have 1 or 2 people in all of Mexico. So there's a real opportunity there.
Wow.
And we'd love to have them join Gen and check that out. They can always, email me, Michael at referco.com, and referco is referco.com. We do referrals, referco.com. And also know that we work with brokerages. We work with Fortune 500 companies. We work with anybody that wants to increase their word of mouth or develop their event-based marketing and event-based part of their business. I don't think anybody does what we do event-wise. We have eventmastery.com, and that's our signature course. It's a 7-week course where I hold your hand through holding and hosting a referral event. You're guaranteed to get referrals. You show up at the sessions and you do what we say, you will get referrals. We just had a gal hold her 3rd event. She got 895 referrals at that one event. We've had people get everything from 7 at their very first event to like I said, we had a lender get 815 last year.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that lender can now honestly publicize themselves as the most recommended or most referred lender in the United States, because we don't know of anybody that's even touched him. We have Torrell Chauffeur White in Washington, who is the most recommended agent in the United States as far as overall. She has over 1,000 reviews on Google, and I think her average is like 4.9 something with
Wow.
1,000 reviews.
Wow.
So
That's amazing. More referrals, more reviews is key. I mean, I just had an audit done on our marketing, our branding, and hey, you can always use more reviews and recommendations. So on the screen, you got Michael's email, michael@referco.com. You can go to joingengen.com. Author of the book, 7 Levels of Communication. Michael, it's a pleasure, and you and I will be in touch shortly.
my absolute pleasure. It's an honor. It was fun. And I just appreciate you giving me the opportunity, and I love what you do, and keep doing what you do for the industry, man. You are filling a niche in a big way, and I just appreciate watching you work.
I appreciate it. And again, those of you that are watching a replay of this, if you have a question for myself, you can shoot me an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup. And for our guest, Michael Maher, you can send it to michael@referco.com, michael@referco.com. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Yeah, you too. Again, great guest, amazing content, a lot of nuggets. If you're getting value from this, please leave us a like, leave us a review. If you have our book, same thing. If you haven't purchased our book, check it out on Amazon, Luxury Specialist. And as I mentioned, our new book coming out, Secrets of Top Luxury Agents. If you have any interest whatsoever, go to secretsofTopLuxuryAgents.com. My name is Michael LaFido. You guys have been a terrific audience. Keep raising the bar. Build others up, turn off the news. They want to divide. They want to label you. They want to label me. Until next time, you're listening to another episode of Luxury Specialist. I'm your host, Michael LaFido. Prove them wrong. Take care.